It's been a really long time since I've posted on here or even updated myself on anything. I wish I would have fell through with what I was gonna do and record everything about my pregnancy because I do not plan on having any more kids. Today I'm gonna be talking about my labor and delivery, how that went. It is going to get juicy. I'm gonna go through and tell y'all everything that happened, everything that I went through. It was December 11th. I started having little contractions here and there, but they weren't all day long. They were just like a few hours and they didn't stop. And then a few hours later, then they were done for that day. And then the 12th, I had that same thing happen, but all day long. So I was like, okay, things are starting to move. She's moving down. She's working her way out of my body. So at that point, I was walking around a lot. I was taking a lot of showers because that was the only thing that was really making me feel comfortable. So I was doing that all day the 12th, and then the 13th came. And that's when I woke up at like 8:30 in the morning. Really bad cramps in my front and my back. So I was like, oh my God, why am I crampy? Like, I'm not supposed to be this crampy. Like, I know she's coming soon. I don't think I'm supposed to be this crampy. And so I'm very crampy. Like, I'm like, oh man, I'm very crampy. Like, I can't fall back asleep because I'm so crampy. Every time I'd fall asleep, I would get a cramp. And I was like, oh my God, like every time I fall asleep, boom, a cramp hits me. So that kept happening, and that happened from 8 to 10, and I was timing it on my phone. My significant other was like, no, you're not having contractions. Like, she's not coming right now. And I was like, yeah, she's definitely working her way out. And it was like that all day long. 14th came, and I was again all day long crampy. So I was like, oh my goodness, like what am I gonna do? I'm cramped up, and I didn't know whether to laugh or cry at this point because I was just so crampy. It was all in my back too. It was all in my back. My back was killing me. Oh, it was so bad, and they were lasting like 30 seconds to a minute, and they were like a minute to 2 minutes apart, 3 minutes apart sometimes. And I was like, this is the real deal, like this is happening. So I was just hanging out, chilling around my house, just getting ready for everything. My bags were already packed days prior to this because I knew she was gonna come. At this point, we're kind of just hanging out, relaxing a little bit. I'm snacking down on food and everything. I was so hungry. I'm in bed having contractions, and I get a bloody show. So I'm like, oh, I think I just lost my mucus plug. So I call my mom and I tell her what just happened, and she was like, yeah, you should probably call your doctor. We're kind of just hanging out. Again, I'm taking showers a lot. My significant other is helping me in and out of the shower, helping me do everything because I'm having a contraction every like 3 minutes at this point. It was like every 3 to 5 minutes I was having a contraction. Around 4 or 5 p.m. that night, things really started hitting the fan, and I was in a lot of pain. So I was like, I'm in a lot of discomfort. I need to take another shower. Like, I'm at the point now where I can't get any sleep at all. I'm trying. I can't even lay down because I'm so uncomfortable. I'm trying to walk around, but I can't walk through a contraction. So, it was a mess. I was doing good though. I was breathing. I was fine. I wasn't freaking out or anything. I was just kind of walking around being like, oh, like this kind of sucks. Like, these are menstrual cramps times 10. And I don't really know what to do about it besides to just wait until 4 or 5. And then I started leaking. And I was like, okay, I'm leaking. So water just broke. I was in the bathroom. And I was like, I think my water just broke. I'm leaking. So he doesn't think it was my water. He thinks I'm peeing. I was like, nah, I'm not peeing. Like, I know if I peed. I just got out of the shower. Like, my legs they were completely dried off. I had everything on. I was going to start leaking. And I told him, like, I already lost my mucus plug. And I've been having contractions all day long. And they're like 2 to 3 minutes apart. Sometimes 5, and they're lasting a while. Like, I can't get comfortable. This is my water breaking. He then puts everything all together because I need help at this point. I said my water broke. I need help. Girl needed some help. So I was like, you need to help me out. You need to put a diaper on me so that I could call my doctor because this is just really ridiculous. So instead of calling my doctor, I called my mom and I said, Mom, I think my water just broke. Like, in the process of trying to break, like it's leaking all down my legs. It's constant. It's every time I have a contraction. Water broke around 4 or 5 and I called my mom. My mom told me to call my doctor. I didn't call my doctor. I waited until 8 p.m. and then I called my mom back and I said, it's still leaking. I'm still having contractions. What do I do? And she said, you call your doctor like I told you to call her at 4 or 5. I want to call my doctor because I don't want to be sitting in the hospital, just sitting. Stick through it then and go when you think it's time. So I waited until, that was at 8 p.m. I waited until 4 o'clock in the morning. I got up at 4 a.m. after taking 20 showers that day, and I lost more of my mucus plug. Called my doctor and I said what was happening. She told me to come in. She told me that it's time. This baby's coming. I go to the hospital, which is only 10 minutes away from me. That's another reason why I waited so long not to go into the hospital, because it's only like 10 minutes away from me. Like, everything's just falling into place at this point. Went to the hospital. They checked me in. Waiting for my doctor to come in, and when she came in, she checked me and she did this little strip test where she put some of the fluid that's leaking out of me onto the strip and it turns a certain color, like blue or something, and it tells her if my water broke or not. Well, my membranes or something like that. I don't even know what she said. I was, like I said, having contractions and I was kind of like really crampy, so I was not really listening to what she was saying. All I heard was something about ruptured and water, and it wasn't a bad thing. That it's normal, it happens, and that I was gonna be okay. So they got me all checked in. I slept until 11 to 12. Contractions, I had to sleep. I had to sleep. They checked me and they told me that I was gonna be able to push soon, that I can't remember how many centimeters dilated I was, but everything started going very, very good. They're like, everything's good, like we don't need to run Pitocin or anything. And I was like, good, like perfect. Well, I have a medical condition and that kind of randomly swooped in and got in the way, like real quick. Everything was good and then all of a sudden it wasn't good. So I was like, okay, what do we do next? And they told me I needed to have a procedure done very quick before I give birth. So I did the procedure. I had to get an epidural though, because they told me the procedure was going to be painful without an epidural. So I decided, okay, I'm going to get an epidural. So I had the procedure done, and when I got done the procedure, which was only 10 minutes max, they checked me and I was 9 centimeters dilated and 100% fully effaced, or whatever it is. 20 minutes later, I started pushing. I was pushing for about 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes, and she arrived. And everything was good. They moved my uterus down, everything was fine. They got my placenta out, which that was not fine. That was horrible. That was very complicated. They had to call in another doctor to do that because it was bad. I was getting scared at that point. I kind of started like freaking out a little bit, like I'm like, what's going on? And they just told me like, look, we can't get your placenta out. It's lodged in there. We have to call in another doctor so she can get your placenta out. So that was like a 10-minute process of being in pain. Someone pushing on my belly and someone elbow deep. So I was not doing good there, but they put my baby on top of me like 2 minutes into it. So after that, I was kind of just like holding her, but at the same time, my mind was still focused on what was going on down there because I wanted to make sure I was okay. So at this point, everything was all over with. They got everything out, and then I got stitches. My recovery process was 2 weeks. I got home 3 days later after the hospital. Everything was good. I tried to breastfeed. I could not breastfeed. It just was not something for me. I tried every single day for about a week. Even after coming home, I didn't think I was gonna long story short things. I thought I was actually gonna sit down and talk and tell everything. Another video on in-depth, more details on this video. So it's gonna be a part 2. This is part 1. It's gonna be a part 2. There's probably gonna be like part 5 and 6, 7, who knows, because it was chaotic. especially going down the stairs here. It was, anyways. So I'm gonna save it for video number 2, okay? Stay tuned, and I'm gonna go into more depth and detail about some things that happened in this video that I kind of skipped through. So if you want to listen to that, I have 2 videos coming out. Hopefully you guys watch them. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. I'm going to introduce you to my baby soon. She is my little nugget. I'm worried about not showing her on here. I just want to tell my story and have that memory to live on and look back at these videos and think like, wow, it was the craziest thing I have ever experienced in my life. Well, anyways, part 2 is going to be dropping soon. Stay tuned for part 2.